This is a severe weather alert with Storm Tracker 13.
Perhaps you've seen the crawl run on the bottom of your screen. We now have a tornado warning that includes Orange County, the south central portion of it, along with parts of Osceola County in the northwestern sections. The threat is largely near Celebration, but the tornado warning includes several areas. So I'm going to take you to Storm Tracker 13 right now, and this is the big picture, but you can clearly see that concentration of red and with lightning right over the southern part of Orange County. So we'll go in for a closer look and take off the lightning so that we can see it better, and I'll get over to the wall and we can analyze this to show you exactly where the threat is greatest. So again, this is a tornado warning, and I have it in my hand right here from the National Weather Service in Melbourne. It goes until 10:30 in the morning, and this includes South Central Orange County, Bay Lake, also Kissimmee, Intersection City, and Celebration. So let's get in and show you exactly where the threat is. And a reminder, a tornado warning means that the threat is imminent and you want to seek shelter immediately if you are in this area. You want to get away from windows and doors, the lowest level of your house. And been watching some rotation within this cell right here, but we've also seen a bit of hail detected by radar. And it's very clear to see that the deeper reds and oranges and pinks extend from this area right here to the west of Taft down across the Osceola County line. Now here is John Young Parkway, here is Palm Parkway, just to get your bearings. And this is where we have our tornado warning that goes into effect until 10:30 this morning. So this cell right here, the area that's starting to pick up on a little bit of rotation, this is going to be lifting towards the northeast around 25 miles per hour. So I'll take this area right here, and the actual storm itself has been cruising along, but if we see these winds varying with height, they're going to be moving in the direction of some of these areas right here. So the radar just went around. It's getting the latest data where we can see that little bit of a notch right there as where we want to watch, but also anywhere in the vicinity of our actual tornado warning. I'm going to slide over and change the graphic just so we can see the exact area that is under the tornado warning, and something new came off the printer. So this is the latest update. And I'm just going to read this verbatim right here from the National Weather Service. A thunderstorm capable of producing tornado near SeaWorld or about near Celebration, moving to the northeast at 25 miles per hour. Locations in the warning include but are not limited to Dr. Phillips, Wet and Wild Water Park, and Universal Studios. So this is going to impact a very populated area, a place that a lot of people are out and about on a day that's leading up to a holiday where people are traveling. So we want to be very careful in this area. Again, a tornado warning, and I'm going to pull it up on another screen right here so you can see exactly the area that is impacted by a tornado warning, which is much more imminent than a tornado watch. We have not seen any tornado watches. This is our tornado warning. I have it right here on Storm Tracker 13, and this is where we have the threat of a tornado until 10:30 this morning. I will go back over to Storm Tracker 13, where we're now getting a little bit of an indication of rotation on this area right here. And this is close to Universal Studios, Wet and Wild, lots of lightning in this area, and we're picking up on a little bit of a rotation right here, hence the circular area. I'm going to switch the radar source right here and try to look at some velocities, because where we see the radar differing in the red and the green shaded area right here, we call that a couplet, and this is where the radar is detecting motion moving at different directions, which can signal that there's some rotation. So we're looking at the storm winds right here near Lake Buena Vista, near Taft, and I have the roads put on here as well. So this is where we want to watch for the potential for some rotation. We have the road maps or the street labels on right here, and this is where the potential exists for a tornado. There's a tornado warning, and if you have any reports that you want to share with us, we certainly would like to hear from you coming in from the reports from the National Weather Service. This just indicates that it is radar indicated, but if you have something that you have observed or you want to let us know about, please tweet us at MyNews13 Weather or interact with the at MyNews13 News account, since our web team is likely tracking that. So we'll switch the radar source again, looking at the severe threat within this particular area. All morning long, we've been watching for heavy rain, for frequent lightning, but lately we've seen the sweep go around near Celebration, near Lake Buena Vista, and this is where we have the risk of a potential tornado or some rotation and strong winds that are detected here by Storm Tracker 13. So this graphic right here showing you the severe threat along with the threat of where we could have some hail, but the most grave concern right here is the potential for a tornado. So we see the various levels being detected here on Storm Tracker 13, and this is just the severe threat. You can get your bearings here. This is north of Kissimmee, east of Lake Buena Vista, and according to the report from the National Weather Service, who issues these warnings, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near Celebration, moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. So let's go back over to this radar right here. I'll get over to the wall and we can track this out to see exactly who is going to be in the path of this, and we'll turn on some of the street labels here so you can get your bearings and see exactly where the radar is picking up on some rotation. That's what the yellow area is. When the radar detects an algorithm that shows where there could be some rotation, that is indicated by this yellow shaded area or this yellow rotation, and we're looking over Taft Vineland Road over towards Palm Parkway and going back out to get a broader view. You can see this is near Taft and Sky Lake, Edgewood, some very heavy rainfall, and that has been the case with this all along for us to be seeing the heavy rainfall. This is moving off to the north and west around 25 miles per hour. And these storms have been moving very quickly all morning long. This is the first warning we have seen of this nature. And if you are in this area, you want to seek shelter immediately. Get to the lowest level of your home, away from windows and doors, and wait for it to pass. Again, this is a tornado warning, so the threat is more imminent. It goes until 10:30 this morning, and this is where the radar is detecting a bit of rotation. So the storm moving off to the north and west around at 25 miles per hour. I'll just take it from right here, and this is going to be advancing across Orange County and a lot of places that are going to be heavily populated this time of the day, a busy travel day, Sky Lake, also towards Edgewood, but that's just the general risk. We want to focus on the tornado threat, and the printer is going off right now, so let's see the latest coming in from the National Weather Service, if there are any updates to this particular advisory. And we've had a few different warnings, or rather significant weather advisories this morning, but our main focus is the tornado warning. We do have a look outside right now at one of our traffic cameras. This is looking east-northeast along 408, and this is where rain is coming down heavy at times. And as we're looking at that, I also want to say that Osceola County no longer included in the tornado warning. So this has shifted into Orange County for South Central Orange County until 10:30. So Osceola County no longer in the tornado warning. Looking at this right now, the thunderstorm that has strong rotation located along 417 near Buenaventura Lakes, moving east-northeast at 25 miles per hour. So let's shift our attention back to the radar and look at those storm velocities, because when we see the red and the green coming together, that's your classic signature for some rotation. And we want to be looking along 417 to be detecting where there could be some rotation within this particular thunderstorm. So this right here seems to be where the red and the green meet. This has shifted to the east of Celebration and north of Kissimmee. So with the street maps on right here, can label these and detect exactly where we are. Again, we're still near John Young Parkway, and the threat exists in the vicinity of the attractions as well, with the initial report coming from the National Weather Service, the tornado warning until 10:30. This is moving east-northeast at 25 miles per hour. So we look for the couplet of the red and the green close together, that signals rotation, and we're seeing that in this general area right here. So you want to be seeking shelter anywhere from Kissimmee points north, even up towards the airport, where we have the indication of the red shade area. Some strong winds regardless with this tornado. Let's go back over to this map right here. This is one of our exclusive features right here on Storm Tracker 13, where we have the severe threat, and this detects whether it's heavy rain, frequent lightning, or hail. And there's one area right here that has been showing up with hail throughout the morning. We had a brief indication of rotation, but now we're seeing that there could be some half-inch hail in diameter to the south and west of Taft. But going back out to the broader view, again, we keep switching the views here on Storm Tracker 13. And the threat for locally heavy rainfall, frequent lightning, and some rotation exists in this general area right here. And we'll go back over to show you where our tornado warning is on this map here. And this goes until 10:30 in the morning for enough rotation to warrant a tornado warning until 10:30. So we can even go in for a closer view of this too. And I know this doesn't have the radar imagery on it, but this gives us a indication of who is included in the particular tornado warning. So it's not the whole county, and even though Dr. Phillips was labeled in the area that could be impacted, it technically is not included in the polygon shape. So from Hunters Creek to Meadows Woods, and that's exactly where we're detecting it on Storm Tracker 13 from this perspective. So we're going back out to the broad view because the tornado warning is our most crucial instance right now, with this storm showing some rotation passing over south central parts of Orange County, lifting out of Osceola County. And we watch it go through. The radar is no longer signaling that indication of any rotation, but we're going from Edgewood down to Taft and close to the airport as well. This is where our rainfall estimates are heaviest, and there also could be some small hail, but our main threat is for a tornado. Although the radar is showing weak rotation overall, this is where we have the greatest risk for perhaps a tornado that could be forming, and the threat goes until 10:30 this morning. So we look for that red and green shaded area to be close together, and that's where our tornado warning is. So back out to the overall view, and this is where we can see those intense returns right here on Storm Tracker 13. The storms are moving along very quickly. I'm just going to step over and look at the printer really quickly to see if anything new has come in from the National Weather Service. Again, Osceola County has been removed from the tornado warning. We now have a significant weather advisory for southern Lake County and also for northwestern Osceola County. Actually, I'm going to skip over that one. It's a significant weather advisory for Central and East Orange County and Eastern Seminole County. This is until 10:45. So this same storm that is moving through Conway to the northeast at 35 miles per hour has the potential of producing additional severe weather or wind gusts up to 55 miles per hour. That is moving up in the direction of Eastern Seminole County, East Orange County, and Central Orange County. So we're going back to the 408. This is near Westmoreland, looking east-northeast. Look at the frequent lightning and the ponding of water on the roadways where the downpours are coming down torrential. And this combined with wind-driven rain. If there were to be a tornado, we don't have any exact reports coming in stating that we have one. Sometimes when you have very heavy rain like this, it would be difficult to see. So if you are in the area included in the tornado warning, you want to seek shelter immediately and you want to make sure that you are in a room away from windows and doors, the lowest level of your house. So back to Storm Tracker 13, where we have the loop going on here. I'll pause it to get the latest imagery, the latest scans from our live radar, and we no longer have that rotation being signaled here, but the storm is moving along very quickly, and there's enough strong gusty winds and enough of a rotation signature for us still to be concerned about the threat of a tornado. Remember, our tornado warning goes until 10:30. This is where the risk is there for a tornado to form or be detected by radar, and conditions are favorable for one to develop. Remember, a warning different from a watch. So if you're in that red shaded area, this is where we have have our tornado warning that goes until 10:30. It does not include Osceola County anymore. They have trimmed it away just a little bit, but we will continue to watch this through 10:30 this morning, since this thunderstorm was showing strong rotation initially along 417 near Buenaventura Lakes, moving to the east-northeast around 25 miles per hour. So when we go back over to Storm Tracker 13, and you can clearly see that there's a lot of heavy rain on the southeast side of town. Let's see if I can get some of our cameras from downtown perhaps, and maybe we can detect if there's going to be any heavy rain locally, and we can see how it is just wind-driven here in the downtown area, looking out where we have poor visibility. That has been the case all morning, but where the rotation has been, that has been very localized, with this one cell emerging out of northern Polk County into northern Osceola County and now south central Orange County. However, when I go back over to the storm winds here on Storm Tracker 13, what we look for is for the red and green to be close together. That can signal rotation. We are not seeing as much of that anymore. However, just saw lightning flash outside the window. These storms are dangerous. You want to wait for them to pass if you're going to be outside, or just wait for them to lift on off to the north and east, and that is what they have been doing. They're moving very quickly, and in this particular area right here, they've been I'm going to run out of room here, but they're moving around 25 to 30 miles per hour, and this is where we have the risk for enough rotation, some strong winds, certainly some hail, and also the potential for some localized hail within this area too. So as this storm moves to the northeast around 25 miles per hour, University Park, Chuliota, Buda is going to be in the path of this over the course of the next 45 minutes. So embedded here, we have some locally heavy rain. We have frequent lightning. I keep going back to this graphic right here to show the severe threat, and Storm Tracker 13 is detecting mostly heavy rain within this area as opposed to rotation. The signal on the velocities continues to be weak too, where we don't see any tight couplet of where we look for the red and green to be up close together. Instead, we have still gusty winds, frequent lightning, very heavy rain, but you don't want to let your guard down when a radar signals rotation, because you want to stay with this and watch it very closely until the threat passes and until we get an all clear from the National Weather Service, as they are monitoring this to see exactly where we have the threat for a tornado or the lack of one. So the printer's going off right now. I just want to stay up to date with the latest products coming out of the National Weather Service. Just a couple of river flood warnings, and that's another threat that we have today, but really it's our tornado warning that we want to be the most concerned of. So let's go back into a close view of south central Orange County, and we were initially looking in this area for some rotation, and we still are going for a closer look here. Sometimes you look for that inflow notch to show up on the radar where the winds could be circulating in, and with the street labels coming on here, you'll find that to the east of Edgewood, Sky Lake near Taft, this is where the potential exists for us to have enough rotation, and certainly enough for there to be a tornado warning until 10:30. Visibility continues to deteriorate looking along the 408. This is east of Mills looking southwest. So traveling along 408 not too far from downtown, and the radar indicates that it really is on the southeast side of downtown, getting closer to Orlando Executive Airport, out in the direction of OIA as well. That's where a lot of this heavy rainfall is, signaled here by the red and the pink shaded area. So these are moving along pretty quick, and sometimes kind of hard to get the full track of these storms when they're moving so fast, 25 to 30 miles per hour. But let's take this particular area right here, moving on up to the north and east between 25 and 30 miles per hour. And this is where we're going to be looking at conditions between around 15 to 30 minutes or so, University Park, Lockwood, Chuliota. So it's going to move into Osceola, or rather Seminole County as well. And this is where we have our tornado warning that is still in effect until 10:30. But we want to watch anywhere within this particular storm because of strong winds, because of frequent lightning and torrential downpours. So this is the time that we've been watching heavy rain all morning long, but this really is the first one that has produced place any sort of warning of this nature. We keep going back to our DOT cameras to give you an idea of what is happening on the roadways. This is looking to the west-southwest along I-4, or rather, this is the I-4 ramp on 408. Looking to the west-southwest, and roads are simply a mess right now because of the torrential rainfall that has been occurring all morning long. So this is where we have the heavy rainfall that's occurring on Storm Tracker 13. Our tornado warning, just going to see if we have any other updates coming in from the National Weather Service. Our tornado warning came out about 20 minutes ago, and this continues until 10:30 this morning. And let's see, just looking at some reports coming in from the National Weather Service within the last 5 minutes. So there is the potential for additional severe characteristics with this, even though the signature seems to be decreasing somewhat of a tornado, but this is still a very intense storm. So regardless of whether a tornado has been spotted or not, you would want to seek shelter if you are in this immediate area. So back over to checking in on the velocities. These are tools that we often look at behind the scenes, but then we use them live on air as we track the storms ourselves. As we go along with this live coverage, we look for a very tight circulation of the storm winds whenever we see the red, which signals the storms moving in different direction than if we, or rather the storm direction going toward and away from the radar. When you see them close together, that signalizes rotation. So we have some locally heavy rainfall within the entire area, but our main concern is for the tornado signature. And it sounds like we have our own meteorologist, Mallory Nichols, on the phone right now. Can you hear me, Mallory?
Hey, Maureen. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're in Oak Ridge?
Yeah, I was north of the tornado warning in Oak Ridge area as it was going through, and it does look like the heaviest of that rainfall is now off to the north and east of that area. But man, when it was coming through, definitely heavy rainfall, frequent lightning, and actually triggering my fire alarm here where I am. So definitely a dangerous situation, and those places like Orlando down to Conway, Belle Isle, heading up to Azalea Park, about to deal with exactly what I saw here again in Oak Ridge. And while if you're in the tornado warning, you should be taking shelter at this point. Me being just north of it, I did go out and check out what was happening just south of me down near SeaWorld area. And man, that rain was coming down. And as you mentioned a little while ago, Maureen, they will not be able to see this tornado if it's on the ground. The rain is coming down so fast, it's blinding. So definitely creating low visibility in those areas. And still Williamsburg, Meadowood underneath that tornado warning. And as you mentioned, it does look like the rotation on that storm does seem to be weakening just a bit. But that doesn't mean that high wind isn't a possibility. As you're showing here at I-4, blowing wind creating some of that blinding rain out on the road. Another point I want to make is where I am, there is some ponding already happening. That rain coming down pretty fast in a short amount of time. So I'm seeing leaves kind of floating around in that ponding on the roadways. If you have to head out now, not a good idea, but if you have to, definitely take it slow on the roads. It does look like that seems to be the case on I-4 right now. It doesn't look like it's moved past I-4, but heading toward, again, the Winter Park, Union Park, Azalea Park area is where the heaviest of the rain is located, and we do still have that tornado warning in effect until, again, about 10:30. It does include Williamsburg down to Meadowood and is heading toward the Taft area, but it does look like the rotation on this storm has softened it just a bit. But throughout the rest of this day, we're going to be dealing with the possibility for some of these strong storms, and if you have to be out in it, definitely take cover if you're in the worst of the storm, but let us know what's happening in your area. I'm going to send it back over to Maureen McCann for another check of the radar right now. This is meteorologist Mallory Nichols down in Oak Ridge.
Thank you, Mallory, for taking the time to call in. And Mallory just gave some very good indications about what would be happening in this particular area. The wind-driven rain, the very poor visibility, ponding of water on the roadways, because here we are at 10:15. I've been tracking these storms since 3:01 this morning, and the rain has been the main issue until this particular storm, which was showing some signs of rotation. And even though the signature, as we've talked about, it's weakened, when you're in a tornado warning, you want to ensure that you are in a safe area, lowest level of your home, away from windows and doors. And this is our tornado warning right here. Going for a closer view, just so you can see the neighborhoods that are included. And should the National Weather Service decide to extend it, it would be including, perhaps it would be shifting in the direction of OIA or Orlando Executive Airport up by Belle Isle, Pine Castle, where Mallory was in Oak Ridge, just on the north side of this tornado polygon. So the technical definition, in and around the watch area, you would want to be on guard for the potential of a tornado. Although we don't have any reports coming in that we've seen one, this is radar indication. And I keep going over here to check this graphic right here on Storm Tracker 13, just one of our tools that, again, we look at behind the scenes, but when we get to do it live on the air, we're not seeing any rotation here, but very heavy rainfall. So that's your biggest hazard, along with some very gusty winds. We're not seeing as much of rotation here like we had been seeing. Weak rotation to the east of Lake Buena Vista, but still some very gusty winds regardless. As these storms move on by, they're moving quickly, so that will add to the high wind potential, winds maybe 40 to 50 miles per hour. And if you are in this particular area, if you've been caught in it, or you've been in an area that has been threatened by this potential rotation, we'd love to hear from you. Send us your photos. News 13 Plus, a great tool in this situation. Now, I just saw the icon come down from my map, and it just came off the printer. We are no longer in a tornado warning for south central Orange County. The rotation has weakened, therefore the warning has been canceled. But I think we should stay with this through our 1021 weather, just to recap what we've been looking at and to continue to monitor the threat of some very strong winds here within this particular storm. We're going back out to our DOT cam. This is I-4 at Cayley, so the heaviest of that cell now to the east of I-4. However, this is where we have our torrential rainfall, very slick roadways, a lot of people traveling today, and this is something that is going to be a risk throughout the afternoon. So we have a prolonged threat of strong weather, of strong thunderstorms, and we will be looking at the radar all day long. It'll be great to hear from you if you have a report to share with us. If you have a report of flooding or a rainfall total, it would be great to verify what we see on the radar when you send us your pictures. So a reminder of News 13 Plus. If you don't have it yet, it's a free app. You can download it by going to mynews13.com/app center. And this is where you can also track the storms if you're away from your TV, and it's a very useful tool on a day like today where we have the marginal threat of severe weather. Let's go back to Storm Tracker 13, and do want to thank Mallory for calling in and anyone else who has shared photos with us today. And again, our tornado warning has been canceled. So if you're just joining us, maybe you got an alert on your phone and that triggered you to turn on your TV. We no longer have our tornado warning, but we have some very intense thunderstorms that are rolling across central Orange County, now shifting into the eastern part of Orange County. And this is where the threat exists for some very gusty winds, frequent lightning, and even some small hail. Out by the Mall of Millenia, not too far from where Mallory just called us from, and she was talking about the torrential rain. It seems to have let up some, but there's a lot of standing water on the roadways. And these storms are moving through at a pretty good rate, but they have a lot of water in them. So when we talk about these rainfall rates of 2 to 3 inches an hour or more, they're moving along, but when they do come over your neighborhood, you will see some torrential rainfall. And this is just looping through the last 15 minutes. Let's pause this now and go in for a closer look of where the cell is a little bit more intense. And this is where we have the remnants of what was once a tornado warm storm. And this is the heavy downpours in this particular bounded area. Lightning strikes in the past 15 minutes, upwards of about 80. These are all moving off to the northeast around 25 to 30 miles per hour. I won't be able to track it from this tight view, but can also find a very heavy downpour now starting to impact the University Park neighborhood. Some pink showing up here, so some torrential rainfall within this particular area. Got the streets loaded on here. So there's Alafaya Trail and Dean Road. That is bound to this storm. However, with the radar sweep going around, you can see how quickly it is moving. So go back out to get your bearings. So we don't want to forget about everyone else in Central Florida that is experiencing severe weather beyond what was once a tornado warm storm. We do not have any active warnings at this time, but let's check in on our friends up in Volusia County, where you had a strong storm move offshore. Now we have additional wet weather exiting DeLand. This also is moving parallel to I-4 between around 25 to 30 miles per hour. These are moving in the direction of South Daytona, Ponce Inlet, and it will eventually be offshore within about 45 minutes. But we're not going to end the threat there. We have the continued risk of severe weather throughout the afternoon. It's a marginal threat today. I know I was talking about that this morning, the general SPC risk area, but any of these storms that form today, heavy rain is going to be a big threat, very frequent lightning, and because we saw so much wet weather earlier this morning, the risk is there for localized flooding. So let's go back to where we once had our tornado warned storm, and this is bound also by I-4 near Conroy Road. And this is where we have the heavy rain coming down. It seems to have let up just a little bit. So this is right along I-4. But if you are venturing out, it's going to be a slow ride anywhere on I-4 because of where the rain exists. And it pretty much goes right along the interstate corridor. And there's more back to the south and west. These thunderstorms rolling through from southwest to northeast, although in the last hour or so, I'd say the overall path of these storms has gone from south to north, at least the way it looks from this perspective. Our one individual cell moving to the east-northeast, our strongest one that once had a tornado warning tied to it, moving at about 25 miles per hour, now encroaching upon Bithlo. So let's see where this edge of the storm wants to go next. Again, moving along very quickly between around 25 and 35 miles per hour. So this is going, looks like I'm going to run out of room there, but to get an idea of who is in the path, University Park experiencing heavy rain now, a little bit more on the way, along with Chuliota and Turnbull within the next hour. So this is a intense storm right here within this frame of view, 143 lightning strikes. And this is just one of the areas of rain since it covers pretty much anywhere from Volusia County back north of I-4 in Polk County. We are watching the storm winds to find some rotation within that cell, and because it has weakened, the National Weather Service did discontinue the warning. But because we still have some strong winds in this area, and because there's a lot of heavy rain, the wind-blown rain would indicate these are wind speeds right here. So this would have the risk of some wind-driven rain, lowering visibility, and then you add that to the hazardous driving conditions too. Let's check in on the rainfall rates now, because this is what's contributing to that low visibility, and we'll stay on the east side of Orlando where the storm was most intense. Now, looking at the rainfall rates from this perspective on a camera, you barely can see, I'd say about a half a mile out ahead because of the rate of rainfall. This is on 408 near Conway Road looking west. So this is looking back towards downtown where the rain has now shifted and let up there just a little bit compared to where we are on the east side of town, traveling anywhere along 408 in the other direction out towards the airport. Cimarron Road experiencing some locally heavy rain right now, and it's moving through quickly, but when it does come by, check out these rainfall rates. Like Mallory was saying, you barely can see, and even this area right here, 5 inches an hour. These storms are on the move, so it doesn't mean you're going to get 3 to 5 inches, but they are moving along at a very fast pace. So if it were to be stationary for an hour, that's the type of rain that you would see. And we did see 3-inch totals in Brevard County earlier this morning. So back out to the home view here of of where our rainfall rates are heaviest. Also monitoring the I-4 corridor up in Volusia County or just to the east of I-4 near Lake Helen. We're looking at rainfall rates right here. I'm going to go switch the radar source really quickly, and again checking in with a reminder that if you don't have News 13 Plus, a great way for you to share photos with us. And you also can track the storms yourself if you are heading out of town and you want to know what it's going to be like at your vacation destination. You also can get the forecast right there for you, News 13 Plus. So I'm just switching over the radar sites right here, and we're looking outside once again on a DOT camera. This is on the 408 eastbound at I-4 looking southeast. So there's one of your DOT cameras close to downtown. I'm going to go back out to Storm Tracker 13 and show you exactly where that rain is occurring, because it's covering a lot of ground. So there is heavy rain extending from Volusia County down into northern Polk County, and it's going to continue throughout the afternoon. I've been saying it all morning. This is a prolonged threat of heavy activity, or a prolonged threat of heavy rainfall. These storms started around 2 o'clock this morning. They continue to intensify and increase in coverage as they emerge with moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. And this isn't even the actual cold front. That is still up over the Big Bend section of the state. So today we're out ahead of the front, widespread rain, heavy at times. And one thing we always look at is the lightning count, because when that lightning count increases, it's a sign that storms are intensifying. So even though we don't have any active warnings right now, we do want to watch these very closely for any additional warnings that may result. And we have some very heavy rainfall seen from this perspective, I-4 eastbound at mile marker almost 128. And we also have one of our own reporters on the phone who sounds like they are out in the elements. Our own Amanda McKenzie is out. Amanda, where are you right now?
We're on the UCF campus right now. Heavy rain coming down, really blinding at this point. You can see the water is really collecting on the roads and in the parking lots. Huge puddles. Buses are still running, and you can see students still heading to and from class. They're carrying umbrellas, wearing ponchos and rain jackets. Lightning is striking probably every couple of seconds. Really strong, loud thunder too, really shaking the ground whenever it strikes. So the weather continues to worsen in this part of town, the northeast part of town at UCF campus. We haven't heard anything as far as class being canceled, but it just seems like the storm is coming our way and getting worse by the second.
And have you noticed any roads being flooded or any poor drainage areas with any issues because of the heavy rainfall, Amanda?
Well, we're not moving right now on UCF campus, but just looking out, I can see that the roads really are flooding, especially in the parking lots. There's really no drainage that I can see from here. So I would say we're looking at a good 2 to 3, and maybe even 4 inches of rain in some parts.
And were you there in time? I know the tornado warning did not include the UCF campus, but were there any indications of a warning nearby?
We were just listening to the reports, and we heard that it was canceled right before the really heavy rain came our way.
Okay, just curious, 'cause I know it wasn't included in the warning, but we always say in and around the watch area, you want to be on guard for that. So thank you, Amanda. Anything else happening there that we should know about?
Nope, it looks like the students are still heading to class. They haven't left yet for Thanksgiving, and they're out in the elements, let's say.
And there is a lot of water there on the UCF campus, as is on all of our area roadways. A very busy travel day, and we're going to be adding to the concerns on the roadways. Now, here we are the day before Thanksgiving, and we're going to be traveling in weather like this off and on throughout the day. Periods of heavy rain, wind-driven rain too, because gusty winds a threat with any of these. We've seen some radar indicated small hail, and as Amanda said, a lot of lightning. And the coverage is going going to be such that most of us will experience this at some point during the day. Really, it's only been Marion County that has not seen any rain so far. Now, these thunderstorms are no longer severe. We don't have any active warnings, but it's enough for you to pay very close attention to the weather today. And if you do get an alert on your phone, of course, keep it here to News 13, and we will keep you posted immediately with the latest. But we did have a tornado warning briefly around the top of the hour that was discontinued, so we no longer have a threat, but we do have a lot of very heavy rainfall. We'll go back into Orange County since we are getting the heavy rain here in Orlando and on the east side of town right now. Within this frame of view, around 94 lightning strikes, and these storms are moving quickly at about 25 to 30 miles per hour off to the northeast. So we'll take the strongest areas right here, and we'll show you who's going to be in the path. And this is the type of weather you'll be experiencing. Downtown Orlando, very heavy rainfall. We've seen frequent lightning and ponding of water in the roads, those poor drainage areas. Some places, I'm about to show you some of the rainfall estimates by radar, but what we have right now is the heavy rainfall shifting to the east side of town, now towards eastern Seminole County, places like Oviedo, to the north of Bithlo, and eventually in the eastern sections of Orange County. Here are some of the places that will be impacted by this particular storm right here. We have a few other areas that are experiencing heavy rain right now. I'll pan north and show you some of the storms in Volusia County. This is where the rain has been locally heavy near DeLand and Deltona. Nothing severe in this area, but strong nonetheless, with heavy rainfall to impact the roads along the I-4 corridor. And they're moving along quickly. Our radar keeps scanning around, and they are moving almost as fast as we can keep up with here. But some of the communities included in this batch are Port Orange, also South Daytona, Daytona Beach in about 40 minutes. So the threat covers much of Central Florida. And the other thing we're going to really watch for today is any localized flooding. This morning we had significant rainfall in Merritt Island, north of Cape Canaveral, and our radar estimates over the past 6 hours within this area have been over 2 to 3 inches in a wide band right here from northern Brevard County back to about the Florida Turnpike. So if we get heavy rain in these areas again, it wouldn't take much to trigger localized flooding, but we also are contributing to that in southern Orange County, where we have some locally heavy rain. Looking out at the Kennedy Atlantis cam at the KSC Visitor Complex, we had torrential rain on this particular camera earlier today, and that has since let up, but we have a lot of cloud cover. We are still in the warm, humid, unstable air mass out ahead of the parent cold front. So even though we might get a few breaks of sun, that would only help fuel additional thunderstorms. And it says it right there on the bottom of your screen. There will likely be additional alerts today with a threat for strong to even severe thunderstorms. So you can sign up for alerts. You also can get them on News 13 Plus if you don't have it already. You're going to go back over to the radar with the lightning counter on there, and still in the last 15 minutes over 200 lightning strikes within this particular area, as we no longer have a severe thunderstorm warning, or rather a tornado warning, but we will certainly let you know if we do get any additional ones throughout the balance of the morning into the afternoon hours. So there are no watches posted at this time. The threat for severe weather has since diminished with that strong storm moving out of east Orlando or south central Orange County. But I still want to watch that closely, and we'll let you know if we do have any changes with any advisories coming in from the National Weather Service. But the deepest reds right here signaling the core of the heaviest rainfall. That is on the east side of town, not too far from the UCF campus where Amanda just was. And in Volusia County, they're seeing heavy rainfall as well. You didn't have as much this morning, but it has now increased in coverage. And this is I-4 near mile marker 122, and you can just see the frequent lightning flashing right there. That is a sign that these storms are holding together, and any lightning is dangerous. Even if you don't have a warning, you don't want to be out when there is active thunderstorm activity. So that's in Volusia County. I'll take you there on Storm Tracker 13, going from Seminole County up to Volusia County. And we have some darker red showing up right here, the area that has the heaviest rainfall. See if we have any roads in that particular area or any neighborhoods that we could zero in on. This is the storm in Volusia County. It doesn't have any warnings attached to it, but we've been watching it throughout the morning for any intensification as it moves offshore. We also have the batch of rain in Seminole County, East Orange County, moving to the northwest around 25 miles per hour. Let's go in and take a closer look at this particular area right here. Remember, the darker the color, the heavier the rain. And we could have maybe some lightning, or rather some hail in the upper levels of the clouds. Whether it's getting down to the ground is a different story. But Chulliota, some torrential rain right over the center of town right now. So let's go in for another street level view here to see where exactly the heaviest rainfall is in Chulliota. This is the northern extent of that storm that once had a tornado warning associated with it. We no longer do, but the rain is very heavy, and this is not too far away on 417 and Aloma. This is looking to the northwest, so that is one of the areas experiencing heavy rain. Traffic seems to be moving along okay from this perspective, but you will want to allow yourself plenty of extra time to get to where you need to be. And if you're going to be anywhere on I-4, rain is going to impact most of your drive from about Daytona Beach to Lakeland because of the steady batch right here included in the yellow and orange shading. And we don't have any warnings attached to any of these thunderstorms right now. Go back to Orange County and show you exactly what's happening here with our heavy rainfall, our frequent lightning, and also the potential for some gusty winds. As Mallory said when we were talking to her not long ago, she was talking about how the rain was really blowing around. And when we got into that tornado warning, we were concerned that oftentimes when it's raining very heavily, you might not be able to see any rotation, a funnel cloud or anything like that. But the rain is coming down very heavily now, and that is why we are staying with our coverage here to show you exactly where these thunderstorms are and where they're going to be impacting over the course of the morning hours. So we will go back to Storm Tracker 13. I do want to get us caught up on some of the temperatures too. If you are just tuning in wanting a forecast, we want to of course keep you posted on that as well. This is the overall view of Storm Tracker 13 as I get some other graphics lined up here. And maybe if we went over to a camera just so I can change the background here and switch over to WSI if anyone wants to maybe call up one of those DOT cameras. And actually we're going to go to the Gulf Coast. We're going to go to the Tradewinds Beach Resort at St. Pete Beach, and here's where we have the cloudy skies, and this is the direction we've been turning to for our storms to originate, coming in off of the Gulf of Mexico, and the moisture is going to be continuing to just pour in over the course of the day today. And if you have any pictures that you want to share with us, of course we would like to see what it looks like where you are. So that's what it looks like on the Gulf Coast. We're going to go to a DOT camera right now, and this is back to 417 looking northwest at mile marker 37.2 near Aloma. We also want to check in with our own Caroline Rowland. She is on the phone with us right now. Caroline, what are you seeing where you are? And it looks like we will check in with Caroline again coming up. But this is looking at 417 at mile marker 37.2, looking northwest. And this is where we have some very heavy rain. That seems to be a common theme all across Central Florida this morning. And if you have any heavy rain where you are, we would love to hear from you with News 13 Plus. And if you have not downloaded yet, we would appreciate if you do. Today's a great day to share those photos with us, and you can find out more at mynews13.com/app center. Of course, we still welcome your pictures on Twitter at mynews13weather. You can email them to phonecam13@mynews13.com, and you can send them in on Facebook. Got a viewer photo right here. This is from Rob in Merritt Island, one of the places that had a lot of heavy rain earlier this morning, and the ponding of water on the roads definitely evident there. Thank you, Rob, for sharing that with us on News 13 Plus. And we go back to a DOT cam. This is on I-95 at mile marker 260. Visibility very poor there, and that is a common theme across Central Florida, and I-95 a popular corridor today, 2 days from Thanksgiving, where we have a lot of people on the roads, or maybe you're waiting for people to come visit you. Well, they may want to allow a little bit of extra time or prepare for some delays on the roads today. Going to take you over to Storm Tracker 13, this is a loop of the past 6 hours. So wave number 1 came through before daybreak. This is the second batch that produced tornado warning very briefly and is still causing rain throughout the I-4 corridor at this time. We actually have Caroline Rowland on the phone right now. And Caroline, where are you and what can you tell us?
Maureen, we're driving on 417 south towards the airport right now, and it's very poor visibility. There's people driving actually on the highway with their hazard lights on. I don't know if they know that is illegal on the roads in Florida. If you are going to have your hazards on, make sure you get to the side of the road. Right now, all we're seeing in this area is heavy rain, no flooding on the 417, but the rain has not let up. We took the 408 to the 417. Again, we're headed towards the airport, heavy rain. And again, just a reminder to people who are driving on the highway with their hazards on, it is important to remind people that it is illegal to do that in the state of Florida.
Thank you, Caroline. That is definitely a very good reminder, especially when we're dealing with rain rates like this. Rainfall rates within some of these cells have been some 2 to 4 inches an hour, and some of that water has been accumulating on the roads to allow things to float away. So this is Kaylee at Orange. And a reminder, when you see water like that, you do not want to drive through it. You want to turn around, don't drown. You never know how deep the water is. And we'll be adding to it. These are the rainfall rates coming in right now on Storm Tracker 13, and rainfall rates of 1 to 2 inches an hour. Go back over to the reflectivity right here, and we'll show you where the rain is coming down heavy at times, kind of like what Caroline was talking about, just consistent rain. Amanda said the same thing. We're talking to her by the UCF campus. We have seen a little bit of a decrease in the intensity since about an hour ago when we had our tornado warning. We no longer have any warnings in effect. And just to double check on that, actually, I'm going to go to the warning layer just to make sure there's nothing I have missed. But we can detect any advisories here on Storm Tracker 13, and good news, a blank map. We like to see that when it comes to our advisories. We also have a lot of lightning within all of these storms at this time, and the lightning has been showing up here. Draw a box and we'll be able to detect how much has occurred within this particular area in the past 30 minutes. And when you add all of those up, it's been over 2,000. So a lot of energy with these storms right here, and a lot of activity that still is going to form beyond what's happening here. We're only at 10:30 in the morning. If we get any daytime heating, it wouldn't take much for these storms to intensify. So I'll roll this into motion. You can tell that most of this is lifting to the north and east at about 25 to 30 miles per hour. So what it looks like outside, there you can see a little bit of clearing on the horizon. 417 looking east southeast near Boggy Creek, and any sunshine that we get is only going to help intensify any additional storms that would form later on in the day. I'm told we have Mallory Nichols back on the phone again. Mallory, where are you and what are you seeing?
Hey, Maureen. Yeah, I'm still down here in the Oak Ridge area. I just want to give you an update on what happens after these storms kind of go through here. And things seem to be lightening up just a bit. This is just about 10 miles south of the Orlando area, pretty close to where that tornado warning was a little while ago, and that has since expired. There are no warnings in place right now, as Maureen has mentioned, but still some dangerous situations out there. As that system was rolling across Oak Ridge, we got some heavy rain in a short amount of time, and just looking out there right now, I'm not seeing much damage, but definitely some ponding outside. And like I mentioned a little while ago, there's leaves that are just floating by. That's how deep the water is in this area. So I can only imagine if you're out on the roads coming across some of that could definitely be pretty dangerous. So Oak Ridge starting to improve just a little bit. Still some heavier rain out there, not as bad as what it was a little while ago, and lightning has seemed to back off just a bit. But Maureen showed you that lightning count a little while ago up near Altamont Springs, Winter Park area, Bithlo, Chulliota, dealing with what I had here a little while ago, that heavy, blinding rain, a lot of lightning, and that is moving on to the northeast. So in Volusia County, the next county that's going to be dealing with some of this heavier rain, and it's a pretty solid line from Volusia County back toward Polk County with that rainfall, as you can see there on your radar picture. And that red near Oviedo is where we have the heaviest of that rainfall. Once it passes by, things can improve just a bit, but until that happens, you definitely will maybe want to stay away from the roads because you might get backed up and come across some of that flooding in the area. And again, As Maureen's mentioned, there's no warnings in place right now, but we are under a slight risk. The Storm Prediction Center has put us under that slight risk now for the potential of severe weather. And as we have seen with the tornado warning earlier, it is possible as that cold front gets closer to us. So certainly something we're going to be watching here throughout the day as the cold front slowly makes its way to the south. Right now against Seminole County, getting some of that heaviest rainfall. I'm going to send this back over to Maureen for another update on the radar. Reporting live in Oak Ridge, I'm meteorologist Mallory Nichols.
Thank you so much, Mallory. And as you mentioned, it may be letting up, but we don't want to let our guard down. We have a continued risk of storms throughout the day. We're going to get you caught up on the other news stories of the day, and we'll be back with another update on your weather on the ones at 10:51.